The Nightly Business Report.
Good evening. Tonight, according to Deputy Minister of Economic Development Anil Fernando, Sri Lanka is on track to reach a 95% debt-to-GDP target 2 years ahead of schedule. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka reports a 17.9% increase in foreign worker remittances for May of this year. The Colombo Stock Exchange holds yesterday's gains as both the ASPI and S&P SL20 ends in the red. And the S&P 500 and Nasdaq reach a record closing highs, capping their best quarter in over a year.
From Studio 24, here's Anuradhi Vikramasinghe.
A very good evening and thank you for joining us. Deputy Minister of Economic Development Anil Fernando said Sri Lanka is on track to reach a 95% debt to gross domestic product target 2 years earlier than originally envisaged by the International Monetary Fund based on the latest projections.
In a debt sustainability analysis after Sri Lanka's first external default without war, the IMF expected the island to hike taxes on the people and bring debt to GDP down to 95% by 2032. But the minister said their latest projection indicates that the target will be reached by 2030, 2 years ahead of schedule. Sri Lanka's new administration has been careful not to rock the boat and maintain fiscal measures envisaged in the IMF program. In Parliament, the minister said it is the government's responsibility to maintain a correct fiscal discipline, adding that they will be accountable for taxes collected from the people even if there was no law. Sri Lanka's debt-to-GDP ratio is expected to reach 94.5% by 2030, according to the latest IMF projections. A fiscal strategy statement said. The statement further added that there is therefore a modest buffer between the target and projections, which is prudent given the significant uncertainty around economic and fiscal developments over the coming years.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka reports a 17.9% increase in foreign worker remittances for May of this year, bringing total remittances for the January to May period to $3.1 billion.
Tourism earnings for May are estimated at $164 million, contributing to a cumulative total of $1.5 billion over the past year, highlighting a steady recovery in the tourism sector. In terms of imports, $118 million was spent on vehicle imports in May, with a total of $312 million recorded from January to May 2025. Sri Lanka's gross official reserves remain stable at $6.3 billion, maintaining the same level as in April. On the domestic front, construction activity rebounded in May after a slowdown in April due to the festive season. The Sri Lanka Buyers Index rose to 59.7%, signaling increased activity, especially in road development, which saw a notable rise in new project awards.
The Ministry of Finance says Sri Lanka will pay its citizens over 60 years an additional 3% interest on their fixed deposits of up to ₹1 million. Fixed deposits under this scheme can be opened from today till the 31st of December, and it must have a 12-month tenor. The minister said in a statement that senior citizens will be entitled to receive the higher of the published fixed deposit rate for the bank or the average weighted fixed deposit rate plus 3% per annum. Interest under this scheme must be withdrawn monthly, and the government has allocated ₹15 billion in its budget of this year to provide the subsidy. The deposit amount is capped at ₹1 million per depositor, regardless of the number of participating banks. The World Bank has appointed Derana as the new Vice President for the South Asia region, succeeding Martin Razor effective today. This comes as an estimated 500,000 students and 150,000 teachers across Sri Lanka are set to benefit from a new $50 million additional financing package approved by the World Bank through its ongoing General Education Modernization Project.
The additional fundings will help keep vital education reforms on track, improve teaching quality, upgrade school facilities, and enhance student well-being with a strong focus on underserved schools, including those in the plantation communities and those supporting children with special needs. Schools across all 9 provinces, regardless of grade level, are expected to benefit from this support. As the regional vice president for South Asia, Zut will manage World Bank relations with Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, and Sri Lanka, and oversee a portfolio of projects, technical assistance, and financial resources worth $39 billion. Under Zut's leadership, the World Bank will continue to support the South Asia region to address job creation, climate and disaster resilience, human capital development, and private capital mobilization. Zut will be based in New Delhi, India, which will serve as the new regional hub for the South Asia region, in line with the World Bank's decentralization to be closer to clients and enhance service delivery.
Tourism Malaysia and the country's tourism industry are pushing for visa-free travel for Sri Lankans to boost tourism. This is according to the Senior Director, International Promotion for Asia and Africa at Tourism Malaysia. Speaking to a Sri Lankan delegation, which included officials from Sri Lankan Airlines, recently it was said that already proposals have been made to the Malaysian government in this regard. She also said the Malaysian High Commission in Colombo was also behind the efforts and added a request from the Sri Lankan government for visa-free travel for its citizens, who would further help efforts. The Sri Lankan Airlines has tied up with Tourism Malaysia to promote travel between the two countries. Azmi, who is speaking to the Sri Lankan delegation, further said that visa-free initiatives were gaining momentum worldwide to attract tourists, and Malaysia had recently launched visa-free travel for visitors from China and India as well. Let's take a short break now. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. The gains recorded yesterday at the Colombo Stock Exchange are furthered today as both the ASPI and S&P SL20 ended in the green. The positive close put the total turnover at over 7.6 billion rupees. For further insights on this, we speak with Manusha Kandanarachi from First Capital Holdings.
Thank you, Anuradhi. After a positive sentiment in the previous day, the Colombo stock market faced selling pressure as investors opted to book profits during the trading session. The market opened with a sharp decline as investors took profits but gradually recovered, experiencing sideways movements as well. However, index ultimately failed to close in the green, ending at 17,997, down by 30 points. The banking sector, including counters like HNB Bank, NDB Bank and CDB Bank, exerted a negative pressure on the index, along with CT Holdings and Carson Cumberbatch. Retail and high net worth investor participation remained strong, with turnover reaching 7.6 billion rupees, reflecting a 55% increase from the monthly average as well. Notably, 1.7% of the LOFC's stake was traded through an off-board transaction, generating a turnover of 3.3 billion rupees at 6 rupees per share. The diversified financial sector was the top contributors to today's turnover, accounting for a share of 55%. This was followed by the capital goods and the banking sector, which produced a joint contribution of about 20% as well. Additionally, top three gainers of the day were Nations Lanka Finance, Abans Finance and Baira Farms.
According to the latest figures from the Department of Census and Statistics, Sri Lanka's inflation rate, as measured by the Colombo Consumer Price Index on a year-on-year basis, rose slightly to -0.6% in June of this year, compared to the 0.7% recorded in May of this year. For further insights on this, we speak with Ranjan Ranatunga from First Capital Holdings.
Thank you, Anuradhi. Sri Lanka's Colombo Consumer Price Index, or the CCPI, recorded a slight increase from the previous month, with deflationary conditions easing for the fourth consecutive month. During the month of June 2025, the CCPI inflation was recorded at -0.6% year-over-year, decreasing from -0.7% year-over-year recorded during the previous month. The slowdown in deflationary conditions was caused largely by the reduction in non-food inflation, which saw deflation reducing to 2.8% year-over-year from 3.3% recorded in the previous month. The deflationary conditions in the non-food category was mainly caused by price increases in alcohol, food, beverages and tobacco segments, clothing and footwear, health and communication segments. Contrary to the non-food inflation, food inflation saw a slight reduction in prices, with food inflation reducing to 4.3% year-over-year from 5.2% year-over-year recorded in the previous month. Looking ahead, we expect inflation to gradually edge up and reach positive territory by the third quarter of 2025, while moving towards the CBSL guided range of 5% by the year end. The gradual pickup in inflation will be mainly driven by the consumer demand in the system, together with the base effect, which are considered the catalyst towards moving inflation towards the CBSL guidance.
Gold prices jumped in Asian trade, lifted by safe haven demand amid uncertainty over U.S. trade negotiations ahead of President Donald Trump's July 9 tariff deadline, while a weaker dollar provided additional support. Spot gold rose 0.8% to $3,328.71 an ounce, while gold futures for August jumped 1% to $3,339.70. Bullion rose 1.5% a day earlier and was set to cover most of the ground it lost last week due to the Iran-Israel ceasefire. Gold prices rose as investors looked out for trade deals ahead of President Trump's July 9 tariff deadline. A 90-day pause in tariff enforcement that began on the 2nd of April is set to expire next week, with the U.S. having secured only 2 trade deals so far with China and the U.K. Oil prices fell to a 3-week low, hitting levels seen prior to the recent Israel-Iran conflict amid pressure from easing supply concerns and expectations of an OPEC Plus production hike. Brent oil futures for September fell 0.3% to $66.57 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate crude futures fell 0.3% to $63.64 a barrel. Brent prices were at their lowest level since the 11th of June, just before the onset of the Israel-Iran war. A ceasefire between the two countries appeared to be holding. Markets were also on edge over a sweeping U.S. tax cut and spending bill backed by President Donald Trump, amid concerns that the bill will substantially increase the fiscal deficit and increase economic risks in the world's largest oil importer. The Sri Lankan rupee has depreciated slightly against the US dollar today, according to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. The buying rate of the US dollar has increased, while the selling rate has also seen an increase. The Sri Lankan rupee has also depreciated against a basket of foreign currencies, while it has appreciated against Gulf currencies. So let's take a closer look at how the Sri Lankan rupee is performing today against other major global currencies. Short break now. This is the Nightly Basis Report. Welcome back. BYD, the world's leading new energy vehicle manufacturer, together with its authorized distributor in Sri Lanka, John Keel CG Auto, announced its expansion into the East Coast with the opening of its 5th dealership in Ampara.
Located on Hospital Road, Ampara, the new BYD showroom joins a growing retail and service network that includes Colombo, Galle, Kurunegala and Kandy. The latest launch brings BYD's advanced electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles closer to customers in the Eastern Province, strengthening the brand's island-wide accessibility. Customers in Ampara can expect the same level of reliable service, support and access to vehicles that BYD is known for across its existing network. Operated in partnership with Sunrise Auto Service, the new location will initially open as a showroom, with plans underway to introduce a service and spare parts facilities in the near future. The showroom will feature a range of BYD vehicles, including the BYD Seal, BYD Sea Lion 6, BYD Dolphin and BYD Auto 3. In line with its commitment to building a strong NEV ecosystem, JKCG Auto has also supported the installation of over 15 EV charging stations across key areas including Colombo, Negombo, Gampaha, Kalutara, Karapitiya, Matara, Tangol, Puttalam, Kurunegala and Kandy. Plans are also underway to install 7 kilowatt chargers within the vicinity of Ampara, further improving accessibility for NEV users in the Eastern Province. This growing infrastructure supports BYD's long-term sustainability goals and ensures greater convenience for NEV owners across the country.
Janashakti Group announced its financial results for the 4th quarter and full year for the 12-month period under review. The group recorded a revenue of 24.76 billion rupees. The primary contribution to group revenue came from the investment banking arm, First Capital Holdings PLC contributing 13.77 billion rupees, followed by the insurance arm, Janashakti Insurance PLC, contributing 6.6 billion rupees, and the finance and leasing arm, Janashakti Finance PLC, contributing 4.46 billion rupees. As a result, the group reported a net profit after tax of 5.24 billion rupees, reflecting a net profit margin of 21.2%. Insurance sector recorded an NPAT of 4.51 billion rupees, inclusive surplus transfer driven by the 43.9% year-on-year increase in gross written premiums for the financial year ended 31st December 2024, totaling 6.6 billion rupees, up from 4.58 billion from the previous year. People's Bank, a pioneer in Sri Lanka's banking and financial services industry, commemorates its 64th anniversary today. Since its establishment, the bank has played a transformative role in extending formal banking services to the wider public, championing financial inclusion across the nation.
To date, it continues this legacy by delivering state-of-the-art digital banking solutions that reach even the most remote communities. With consolidated assets exceeding 3 trillion rupees, People's Bank stands as a national leader, significantly contributing to Sri Lanka's socio-economic development. Its customer-centric approach has enabled it to deliver a wide range of financial solutions through innovative digital platforms. People's Bank was the first to introduce a range of public saving products, including children's savings and dedicated accounts for women. It also pioneered pawning services in 1961, providing enhanced security and attractive interest rates. These innovations revitalized the sector and fostered a strong culture of savings. The bank's diverse portfolio of services includes specialized accounts and loan schemes designed to support various demographics and industries, empowering individuals to enhance their quality of life and develop sustainable businesses. In international trade, the bank collaborates with over 900 global financial institutions, facilitating import and export operations through letters of credit and guarantees, thus strengthening Sri Lanka's presence in the global marketplace.
Atom Beverages Private Limited, a leading South Indian energy and soft drink manufacturing company, has announced its strategic entry into the Sri Lankan market, aiming to introduce its popular range of beverages and establish a local manufacturing facility. Speaking during a meeting with the Secretary General of the International Chamber of Commerce, Sri Lanka's Shahil Fernando, and senior ICC officials, founder of Atom Beverages and CEO of Amrutha Enterprises, P. Durga Rao, confirmed that Atom will be launched in Sri Lanka as part of an India-Sri Lanka joint venture. Atom Beverages, which enjoys significant market success across South Indian states such as Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, plans to initially introduce Indian manufactured beverages in accordance with Sri Lankan quality and regulatory standards. These products will include a sugar-free energy drink and a non-carbonated soft drink tailored for the Sri Lankan palate. The initial product rollout is expected to be completed within this year. The second phase will involve setting up a full-scale production facility in Sri Lanka, contributing to local employment and economic development. LB Finance PLC appoints Niroshan Udage as Managing Director with effect from today, succeeding Sumit Adihetty. This leadership transition marks a significant milestone for LB Finance as it continues its journey towards innovation and sustainable growth. Udage's association with LB Finance began in 2004 when he joined as General Manager for Asset Finance. His dedication and strategic vision led his appointment to the board on the 1st of January 2007 and subsequently as Deputy Managing Director on the 8th of March 2021. Over the past 2 decades, he has played a pivotal role in transforming LB Finance into a dynamic and resilient leader in Sri Lanka's financial services sector. With 34 years of experience in the finance industry, Udage's career includes a decade at Lanka Oryx Leasing Company PLC and 3 years at Mercantile Investments Limited before joining LB Finance. His expertise spans credit, finance, risk management and innovation, areas that have significantly contributed to the company's continued profitability and strength. Let's take a short commercial break. Global business updates coming on the other side. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. Most Asian stock markets rose, with South Korea leading gains following Wall Street's record highs, while Japan's Nikkei slipped after US President Donald Trump threatened fresh tariffs against Tokyo. China's Shanghai Composite Index rose 0.2%, while the Shanghai Shenzhen CSI 300 edged up 0.1%. Data revealed that China's Caixin manufacturing PMI saw unexpected growth in June on improved trade conditions. South Korea's Kospi led gains with a 1.6% jump. The heavyweight and bellwether stock Samsung Electronics rose nearly nearly 2%, and Australia's S&P ASX 200 inched 0.2% higher, while Singapore's Straits Times Index climbed 0.8%. Futures for India's Nifty 50 were largely unchanged, and Japan's Nikkei 225 fell 1%, retreating from near a one-year high. The broader Topix Index also declined 0.8%. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq reached record closing highs, capping their best quarter in over a year as hopes for trade deals and possible rate cuts eased investor uncertainty.
The S&P 500 and Nasdaq hit record closing highs again on Monday, capping their best quarter in over a year as each index rallied roughly 0.5%, while the Dow gained more than 0.6%. Trade deals with China and the UK fueled optimism that an all-out global trade war can be minimized, with hopes for more deals to be reached before President Donald Trump's July 9th deadline. Shares of big U.S. banks, including J.P. Morgan Chase and Wells Fargo, rose after most cleared the Federal Reserve's annual stress test, paving the way for billions in stock buybacks and dividends. Shares of Juniper Networks jumped about 8.5% after the U.S. Justice Department settled its lawsuit challenging server maker Hewlett-Packard Enterprise's all-cash acquisition of the networking gear maker for $14 billion. Shares of Hewlett-Packard Enterprise surged 11%. And shares of Oracle gained 4% after the company said a new cloud services agreement is expected to contribute more than $30 billion to annual revenue starting in fiscal year 2028.
Prices for goods made in China and sold on Amazon in the US are rising faster than inflation. This is according to a study done by analytics firm DataWave.
Prices for goods made in China and sold on Amazon in the US are rising faster than inflation. It shows that the median price for a basket of such goods rose 2.6% between January and mid-June. Over roughly the same period, the core consumer prices index rose at an annualized rate of about 2%. DataWeave focused on 1,407 items sold on Amazon, where China is clearly listed as the country of origin. Products rising in price at the fastest pace included school and office supplies, electronic items like printers, and home goods like furnishings and cookware. The increase naturally varied from product to product, with some even seeing decreases. While other factors could be at play, DataWeave says the timing of the increase suggests a ripple effect from new US tariffs on Chinese goods. Its analysis comes after numerous US retailers warned of price hikes as a result of the trade war. That includes Walmart and department store chain Macy's, as well as sportswear giant Nike. However, Amazon said it had not detected any big increases in average prices over the period of the study. Boss Andy Jassy said in May that the firm was maniacally focused on avoiding increases. Earlier in the year, the US hit Chinese goods with tariffs of 145%, though the new levies have since been rolled back to 30%. Donald Trump has defended the move as necessary to rebalance global trade.
And that wraps up today's Nightly Business Report. We value your opinion as always, so please share your thoughts and feedback with us through email at feedback.ad24english@derana.lk or via WhatsApp at 076-805-7933. We'll see you again tomorrow with the latest updates across the business globe. And until then, I'm Anuradhi Vikramasinghe. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.